the one with AHQ, but imagine AHQ was second place at the time and seemed unstoppable, and Resurgence showed that they can crumble.
Well, into Champ Select we go. Talon going to be on your blue side with Big Puff on Sorrow in the coaching roles. Crow for Resurgence on red as we start off with the Olaf ban targeted toward Epic and a Callista being banned out by Resurgence.
I wonder if Wukong will still make it out through the draft, as there has been a couple of options for several teams. As if the matchup permits it, then it might as well pick it up. But now we see Hanabi, who has been very scary on the Ornn, has enabled a lot of key team fights, a lot of key knockups, and we'll see whether or not Resurgence will ban that, as Aphelios and Senna are still open.
Aphelios and Senna still available, as the Elise is going to be the next ban, and also a respect ban over there to Dennis on his Bard. Not going to be able to bring that one out here against Talon. For the side of Resurgence, though, are you comfortable letting over the Senna or the Aphelios? And it's actually going to be the Jarvan that gets banned out. I'm sorry, of all the teams to let Aphelios through, Unified is the one player in the PCS to get a pentakill, and it was on this Aphelios.
I believe this isn't the first time the RSG decided to do this. I mean, you know, Aphelios has been adjusted for a couple of patches now, bringing him down into a more balanced state, but in the hands of a pro player, it has been still quite a challenge to deal with, and it seems to me Varus will still be on towards Mexi, which has proven to be successful, and quick lock into the Rek'Sai as well.
All right, Rek'Sai going to be taken here by Epic. I'm liking the style. We saw it in the game earlier with Liab, where they were able to find first blood. Talon, though, it looks like it's going to be River on Sejuani duty, as he's going to be acting as that front line and hard engage.
We did mention that it will definitely enable not only early game ganks for Candy, or it will also solidify your team fight with how tanky Sejuani can get, and as well as provide hard CC. But Candy, rather Wukong being picked up. Yeah, Hanabi is going to be playing on the Wukong.
Yeah, he gets to, have some fun here with the Wukong, as he was hovering that Mordekaiser. We did see Shinsekai actually play the Wukong earlier in the day, and now Wukong, since he's been enabled, 100% pick rate. So far, 100% win rate as well, as Talon will have that and add it to their arsenal, and it looks like it's going to be the Thresh pickup here for Resurgence on Dennis.
This is the exact same composition that RSG picked up when they defeated Liab, and while it has been working for them, RSG is still lacking, the Cassiopeia for Raven. We'll see what matchup will happen at the top side of the map for Resurgence, as they now have a preview of, Wukong for Talon.
There we go. We get ourselves our final bans on the side of Resurgence. Going to be toward the bot lane. No Braum, no Nautilus for the hard engage onto Mexi. So here for Talon, what do they wish to try and ban out here? Just trying to lock down a little bit of Raven's pool as well. Shinsekai, as it's going to be the LeBlanc and the Mordekaiser. I would be extremely surprised to see Raven's pick be already locked in. For Shinsekai there here, going to go with the Poppy instead.
I mean, I guess the steadfast presence sort of denies the dash from Candy, from Hanabi rather, on this Wukong. It has been quite popular to sort of deny any sort of hard engage in general. So perhaps that will be the approach coming from Shinsekai. Instead of playing like a hard counter, it's definitely a more defense situation, a defense choice. But now Blitzcrank being picked up has been seen always against the Thresh pick, and it seems to me that Kaiwing will be very confident coming into this fight.
There we go. Kaiwing going to have themselves a Blitzcrank with some rocket grabs, so you got to be a little bit careful here in RSG. Already you see this composition, maybe also going to pick up the Syndra. That's a lot of just the ability to just get into the back line there is a bit scary. Now for Resurgence, though, what is your final pickup going to be? This is likely going to go for Raven, and we have seen him play the Renekton before.
Or? Okay, if they do lock Nico in, it is actually a pretty interesting interaction. Well, not interaction. But never mind. It's going to be the Echo instead.
Going to be Raven's Echo instead, as, oh boy. they're going to go ahead and lock that one in. We have seen Raven play Echo. It was more or less at the beginning of the split. This time, though, locking in one of his pocket picks, which is, it's scary. Because remember, Resurgence, they have to take home the victory here against Talon if they want to have even a shot at playoffs. It comes down to their final game of the regular season. And even then, it's not even in their hands. There's still that possibility that J-Team or Hong Kong Attitude are able to get the upset victories later on tonight that end up costing Resurgence even that opportunity.
Exactly, it's just so scary considering that, you know, J-Team HKA still has to fight Talon and still has to fight Machi.
Here we go. We're going to be taking a look toward our jungles in particular, because for Resurgence, it has always come down to Epic getting that early kill, assisting with First Blood, and getting the rest of the map out of control. River, though, has always been the catalyst for Talon. So both of these junglers, a lot on the line, more or less over toward Resurgence as we get ourselves set for their final game of the regular season.
Remember, we did mention how Talon likes to play things slow or snowbally, and for Resurgence, they tend to opt to more of the early aggression and then work from there. We'll see whether or not Resurgence is allowed to do that.
And on to the Rift we go for their final game of the split. Talon still have another one after this as they look to try and climb into second place, hoping that AHQ are able to drop their game later tonight. Resurgence, it has been a wild split to say the least, almost going winless in the first round robin. We're able to upset Liab, the regional rivals, and they did it earlier today. We'll see if they can keep the momentum here against Talon.
And considering that they're on a win streak right now because they need to stay in the competition, so this is the heaviest game as it is the last stand for Resurgence. And Talon sitting right now in third place and seem to be undefeated as well during the first round robin. So therefore, for Resurgence, it's going to be a tough one for them.
Yeah, Resurgence, it's not a easy hill to climb up. It's more or less looks a bit like Mount Everest, unfortunately for them. And like we mentioned, it might have been a little bit too late in their season to finally find their footing. I think, though, considering their performance in the second half of the regular season, you can start looking a little bit towards summer, even if this game doesn't go in your favor. It can be, you know, a little bit heartbreaking not to be able to get into playoffs after you were so close to turning it around. And maybe, you know, take a bit of this momentum into summer and look to have a shot at qualifying for Worlds.
That is indeed true. Seeing as, you know, they've always had it in them, and it has something to do with, you know, their rough start. And, you know, we did see the documentary that Resurgence released was, you know, Crow mentioned that the confidence of RSG was definitely not there just yet, but seeing them now, just as you mentioned at the later half parts of the regular season, they seem to solidify and have created their own identity already in the PCS.
And to start off, no deep vision from either side of the rift, so we'll have a Epic and River that are able to hide themselves and try and stay concealed while they can. Mexi, though, getting some okay damage there onto Unified to start off the lane.
One of the things that we saw, which was quite a hard counter to, you know, for the former LSD squads with their hyper-aggressive early game to try and snowball and shut down the lanes of these former LMS squads, was definitely, you know, really nice vision control at the early phases of the game, just to deny any sort of early ganks, especially coming from Epic on this Rek'Sai. But because of how Rek'Sai is quite flexible in terms of angles and how to approach the lane, it might be a little bit difficult for Talon to spot that out.
You see there, Shunsky able to get a nice push in toward that top lane. We've yet to see the Poppy versus Wukong. Of course, we haven't seen a whole bunch of Wukong, especially since he's only been enabled today. We'll see how Hanabi actually handles himself. Hanabi's often been kind of more or less relegated to the tanky brawlers, not necessarily the brawler style that you would see out of a Wukong. But he's been able to find a bit of a highlight here, because Hanabi was always kind of in lane in particular at the beginning of the split. A bit underwhelming for a lot of people.
That's true. You often see Candy and Unified most especially shine in these fights. And Resurgence, is quite familiar with this Syndra pickup. Normally you see Raven and then pair it up. You normally see Echo against the Syndra and you normally pair it up.
Oh, let's see here, as that's going to be a little bit of a trade coming out from the side of Resurgence and Candy, or Raven on the Echo.
Yep, and Candy, no summoners burnt, but Hanabi quite low already against Shinsekai here. He's managing his lane very, very well, especially into this Wukong pick. So you did mention that Hanabi has been working towards more on those utility pickups on the tank and the heavy engage champions. But now he's on on Wukong rather, which is quite similar. But at the same time, he's definitely more on the mid lane though.
Ooh, Candy forced to burn his flash after teleporting back into the lane. That's going to be the rocket grab though, coming immediately onto Dennis. Dennis takes a decent amount of damage, puts the play out, but it's a little bit late. So no real trade coming out here from Resurgence's bot lane, as Unified and Kaiwing already a scary combo even before level 6.
Yeah, indeed. We've been talking about them on how, especially Unified, very consistent as the AD carry. And,
oh no.
Oh,
Mexi
another hook.
Gets hooked in. It's forced to flash away. Unified able to get the quick route. And that's going to be both summoners popped here by Mexi.
And the exchange is just so valuable. You land that skill shot for a Q that will come back on cooldown after a while versus, you know, Mexi having to burn so many summoner spells just to avoid getting killed. And with that said, this, you know, Kaiwing pick for, this Blitzcrank pick for Kaiwing is getting a lot of value.
And so far, we haven't seen Epic really make anything happen. River was in toward the mid lane, but unfortunately wasn't able to try and answer anything there, as Raven was already getting aggressive, who now has just hit his level 6. Going to crash the wave in as Epic shows toward top, but already has to clear out a ward. Raven's also pathing over. That might be just a call here to try and go for a dive. Hanabi does not have level 6. I bet he's going to be trying to get it here as soon as he can. If he has that level 6, it's really hard to dive him. Is Epic going to path around the corner? Raven's already there. Parallel Convergence going to come on down, gets the slow, and Hanabi gets stunned up immediately. He's got nowhere to run, and there it goes. Final tick of damage goes over to Epic, and that's first blood here for Resurgence. River, though, wants to try and answer back. Gets the Arctic Assault coming through. He'll get the kill, as unfortunately Shinsekai very late to pull the ultimate.
And that is a good exchange. First blood, again, going in favor of Resurgence, and that has been the trend at the latter parts of the regular season, as Resurgence has already acquired their confidence. But at the same time, we've seen this before where the exchange will happen and, you know, the gap or the lead that they try to acquire will be equalized.
Now you saw there, I have to be saying for Shinsekai, I'm shocked he didn't decide just to use his ultimate a little bit earlier to try and, you know, catch out River, as he held on to it for a little while, and unfortunately it was just a little bit too late to save his jungle.
And with that, it is going to be 1-1, an exchange of the jungler and for top side of Talon. And in the meantime, I do really enjoy this pick rather of Kaiwing once more, just putting a lot of pressure over to Mexi here. Just really enables Unified to have a comfier lane, as, you know, it sort of denies the Thresh pick as well, as, again, both of these AD carries that they've picked up are quite mirrored in terms of how low mobile they are, but paired with aggressive supports to boot.
Oh, Candy. Oh, able to actually sidestep away from the parallel convergence, also using the Scatter of the Weak there to prevent Raven from just diving in. So an okay trade back and forth, but you do see Raven always trying to set up the stun to try and get the kill on Candy.
Yep, indeed. And with Candy being forced always on towards his tower, it just gives Resurgence priority and have control and have more vision as well on the side of the river. But now he's gonna dive in.
Oh, he's getting another one there, and he'll get the full combo off. So not bad there from Raven if Candy doesn't have the Scatter of the Weak to prevent Raven from jumping in. It's actually a good trade over to the Echo.
Indeed, and with Candy not having Flash, that will be a vulnerable lane, especially when Epic decides to visit. And right now, it's a little bit risky, as you see Raven always pushing Candy on the lane.
That's a gutsy play coming out from Raven. He's going into 2 players here right now. At least I think he's trying to force the... Unfortunately, Candy can always grab the blue buff. I think he was just trying to get River to have to take it. But with that pressure actually coming out and the vision, that allows the Rift Herald to go over in favor of Resurgence.
And this is very, very good to see because Resurgence having a lot of ward coverage, therefore they have tabs on River all the time, therefore River not able to make the necessary plays to try and relieve pressure, so RSG is always one step ahead of them. And again, we did mention Talon, at the beginning of the split, one of the slowest teams that you'll encounter. And this is the type of game that they like to play. And as long as Unified is not behind, he's been very comfy in this lane. And as well as, Candy's been pushed, that's totally fine. Hanabi, though, is not around. Will be forced to go back.
Oh, with that, though, they're going to be able to break open this tower, and that's going to slow the pace here of this Wukong as Epic making an appearance once again, and first brick gold going to go in favor of Resurgence to start off their game, almost down 1,500 gold over Talon.
Nicely done here from Resurgence, and also diminishing the coverage of the top side of the map with that early Rift Herald, early tower take, and we'll see. Wow, Shinsekai zoning out Hanabi. We'll see, though, if there's going to be another charge.
There you go.
Well done by Resurgence.
Gets him a little bit extra damage there. Hanabi wants to get aggressive. He doesn't want to fight, though, in the middle of 20 minions, probably, as Talon realizing, all right, we have the opportunity to maybe get some more pressure here. Dennis has to be careful. Blind hook.
Woo!
Ooh, able to sidestep away as Dennis had a little bit of ward coverage to give him some information. So Talon there, not actually going to pull the trigger onto the Infernal Drake just yet. Just want to go ahead and push in this mid lane.
And that seems to be the plan, especially that it is going to be a little bit risky, considering everyone can just join in. Both top laners have teleport, so they're not prepared, not just yet. As again, Talon can be a little bit flexible with their playstyle.
Oh, another hook. No. Oh, no. Dennis, his hook doesn't actually land at the end there, and he's forced to flash away. Unfortunately, Kaiwing's been able to get a couple of these rocket grabs to connect and really just kind of messing here with Resurgence when it comes to their bot lane. And with that pressure, it opens up River to go ahead and try and take this Infernal Drake, as it doesn't look like Epic really wants to try and contest. We'll see, though. Resurgence still pathing down. Going to go ahead and get the stun immediately there on to the Blitzcrank. A decent amount of damage. Unified needs to be the main target here. He gets knocked up. The hook doesn't connect. Unified going down low. Mexi's able to find the kill. And that's 2 kills in favor of Resurgence. Epic going down low. In comes that Wukong, though, with the ultimate. Able to finish him off. And Raven able to chrono break back. It's going to be a 2 for 2 with Dragon going in favor of Talon.
2 for 2. I was a little bit worried there for a Talon, actually, as that was a massive parallel convergence, I believe, earlier, as you see the Shinsekai actually starting the fight with a knock on the wall, but at the same time, teleport for Hanabi will get that in, but at the same time, it was actually a little bit messy, as you see Hanabi landing a really nice knock up to disrupt Shinsekai and Dennis. The carries are gone, except for Raven.
I even saw there the target selection could have been a little bit better, as Unified was actually just kind of not left until about the second part of the fight. Then he was finally taken down as they really focused in on Kaiwing. Unfortunately, Shinsekai wasn't able to get a good angle onto the Aphelios to get the stun there. Still, it is a 2 for 2. Resurgence still hold the gold lead by 1,500.
And with that said, it seemed to me that Resurgence is doing a great job dealing with Talon, considering, again, their first stint in the PCS, their first few weeks weren't really the best, as you see a lot of these top teams like Talon, Machi, AHQ really had a fun time fighting RSG. It was a complete stomp, and this is a refreshing sight to see, as Resurgence is just taking on these early 5v5s against Talon and managing to make it even, and now they're even ahead in gold.
Slight lead, but it's what you do with it, and that's gonna always be the question when we talk about Resurgence, as Raven able to sneak on in there onto Hanabi, get some decent amount of damage. Hanabi, though, can trade back if Raven's not careful. Still no Black Cleaver completed, though, on that Wukong, so he's just going to go ahead and back off, as again the push is down in bot lane and giving over turret plates to Unified.
Yep, funneling a lot of money towards Unified. We did talk about how consistent he is, how he's going to be a monster later on, especially no one is pressuring him at the bot side of the map.
Epic maybe looking for a quick
Ooh.
flank as, Glacial Prison and Rocket Grab aren't going to connect. It doesn't look like, though, Resurgence have enough members nearby to really commit to a fight, as Raven and Epic are going to go ahead and steal away the blue buff from Candy and River.
Nicely done by Resurgence, not losing a lot, gaining a little bit by stealing that buff away from Candy. It really hurt.
Oh, wow, Shensekai getting very aggressive here. Unified has to be a bit careful as this Poppy can do decent damage. No flash available for Unified. Shinsekai is waiting on his passive or charge to come out. Needs to do it. There it is, and he gets himself out of tower, and that's going to be a solo kill going on over Shinsekai. River's going to come on by. Shinsekai looking for a quick little duke. They also do have Dennis there. Unfortunately, though, he gets interrupted. River able to get the Arctic Assault to prevent him from escaping, and they do trade 1-for-1 in the very end.
Nice solo kill, and with that Sunfire really helped out dueling against Unified. So there's a huge amount of burst. You slam a combo with the autos as well. With Shinsekai having to push forward, not able to land that last auto, had to chase far and wide, and therefore Talon managed to exchange, but this just means trouble for Unified when it comes to these team fights. So the peel for Talon will really have to make it work.
Yeah, and commending there to River, able to interrupt the dash from the Lantern. That does allow, though, Resurgence pressure toward the top side of the map, and they will secure the second Rift Herald of the game.
And now that we still have two outer towers on the side of Talon have yet to be broken, that just means that Resurgence will most likely, if they want more space here over that top side of the map for later, then perhaps the mid lane will be a target for this Rift Herald acquired.
Still, though, we're going to start seeing items come online. You got the Black Cleaver now for the Wukong, the GLP for Candy. So Talon's starting to get a couple of items into their back pocket to equal out the difference between them and Resurgence. And it is still, though, a 2,000 gold lead in Resurgence's favor.
Ooh. Spotted out with a sneaky. That's the beauty of picking up a Blitzcrank here on the composition for yourself, as you can create all of these scary brush.
Well, that's a lot committed here. That is going to open up Dragon Pit, as you already see Epic is down toward the bot side of the map. Talon are looking for their first tower of the game, but Epic's already taken the Dragon, so he's able to equal out the Dragons 1-to-1. We're also going to have some extra mountain terrain, and for Shinsekai, that's actually going to allow him to find some stuns if they go into these jungle fights. And for Resurgence, maybe looking here for a play as Raven goes toe-to-toe here with River. Still no tower taken as Hanabi's taking his sweet time there. That's going to be the Rift Herald popped in mid lane. Epic is going to get tagged by the Rocket Grab, and Resurgence are able to find the tower of the first tier in mid.
Nicely done by Resurgence, despite getting spotted out by Epic over there. The mission for Resurgence was to knock down that tower, and with that, Talon decides to trade for topside, but after all that's done, Resurgence still got the longer end of the stick, especially that they got Dragon and getting that mid tower.
So there we go. Third tower of the game for Resurgence. It's about a 2,500 gold lead. Unfortunately, for Resurgence, there's not a whole lot left to take on the map. Not for another 3 to 4 minutes until we have our next neutral objective spawn. So for them, it's kind of on to them to actually find an opening here of Talon. Try and catch out possibly Candy, who's going to be pushing out in the side lane. And Shinsekai is actually going to hold on here, as maybe he's going to find himself an opportunity for a flank on Candy, who burns the Scatter of the Week. That might be the call.
That is scary because you have River nearby. And if he starts this, he will easily get collapsed upon. So Epic.
There you go. It's going to be Shinsekai getting him into the side, and even then, the Unleashed Power isn't able to do enough. Scatter of the Week, though, does save Candy in the long run. Epic gets the snipe, though, with the Seeker, and he's able to find the kill. Now Talon on the back foot, have to back off. River ends up using all that he can, gets the stun. It's going to force, though, a TP immediately out from Hanabi to try and answer back into a 4v4. Guywing not able to find the Rocket Grab to re-engage the fight.
that was just really good for Resurgence because they didn't have to give up anything in the map. They didn't have to give away kills. And the burst damage coming from Poppy over here just really caught Candy off guard. And how tanky Shinsekai is in this game is just not allowing any sort of burst. So he's definitely the one to deal with these squishies. And Shinsekai didn't have mana at the time. There's the snipe from Epic. Beautifully done. And at this point, because of that TP, I thought there was going to be a fight again. But because of that TP, Resurgence decides to, okay, hey, we're done here. We've done our mission and we've baited out a teleport. Meanwhile, Shinsekai still has his, and Raven also has his.
And with that too, yeah, like you mentioned, it gives TP advantage over to Resurgence. Hanabi actually used the teleport for, honestly, he was pretty close nearby. He was actually at the red buff, and using that teleport, he could actually walk there in time and actually been there for the fight. So that's actually a summoner burned that Talon didn't need to use. And it gives, you know, Resurgence a little bit of a window here to apply some side lane pressure, maybe try and go for a play while they have that advantage.
Indeed, and it has been working out so well for them time and time again. With a lantern as well to close that gap, or rather widen that gap away from the Blitzcrank. But as I was saying, Shinsekai has been doing really well on this Poppy pick. And just giving nightmares for Unified and Candy in particular.
Yeah, because you already have that Abyssal Mass being finished off there immediately. So Shinsekai actually is pretty tanky when it comes to trying to go up against this Syndra. And honestly, that is what you want to see on the side of Resurgence. But you want to see this game end soon. Because again, you are going up against an Aphelios, which as he scales, he's going to be doing a bunch of damage. And Unified has shown himself to be capable on the champion. Though he has died 2 times, he does finish off his Infinity Edge and is going straight into another crit item for his Zeal finish off. As he's going to be sitting around at 45 to 50% crit chance for the next fight if Resurgence don't pull the trigger now.
Exactly, and we've seen time and time again how Talon Esports is such an amazing team when they're fighting all of these 5v5s, and they also have the tools for really nice punishes with this Blitzcrank and with this Syndra pick. So you get that stun lock in, and as the game progresses, that Glacial Prison will also have a really, really low cooldown. So Resurgence has to be worried. They will be stunted mid-fights and probably 2 Glacial Prisons after like such a short span of time.
See though, Moundrake is going to be spawning and Resurgence have already applied the pressure that they need in around the pit. Maybe want to go for a play here onto Hanabi. Both Talon and Resurgence staring down each other with no vision. Now finally the control word comes down. They realize that Hanabi and River might be nearby as Epic already has started up the dragon. Kaiwing pops his speed boost, so he's going to be slowing down here in quite a sec, and that should allow Resurgence free control of the Moundrake.
Talon actually had to concede this as they didn't have the prime entryway to start a fight. Plus, I'm not sure if they're equipped just yet. They're not equipped just yet to take on these fights, considering Raven has a really nice spike with that Lichbane. And as well with the RFC. But you see Aphelios Unified now buying the Hurricane already in his Arsenal, so probably, not probably, for Talon, they will be confident entering into these fights. The biggest question for sure for RSG right now is how will they end this? Because we did mention how Talon is very comfy into these late game 5v5s.
Now taking a look, here's some pings as Hanabi getting pushed in there by Shinsekai. I think I said Abyssal Mass is actually Adaptive Helm. I'm actually trolling, it seems, here tonight, as they both give MR.
Yeah.
That's the end goal there. It's been a while, actually, since we've had an Adaptive Mass Rush. Actually, out of anybody. Shinsekai...
That's true, because we usually see, yeah.
Usually it's the Abyssal, because we always have Ornn that
Abyssal.
can just upgrade it. Either way, Shinsekai is still going to be tanky when it comes to the spellcasters. But, like I mentioned, Unified has finished off his rune ads. So now, that Aphelios is going to start applying some decent amount of damage if Resurgence aren't able to burst him down immediately during these fights.
Yeah, and it's definitely a really nice spike, as alongside Unify, you do have Candy as well with the Morelos. And at the same time, Unified does have Cleanse, so that is something that RSG has to take into account for.
Oh, Dennis, does he get caught? Rocket grab doesn't connect, but look at this. Epic and Raven over toward the side, looking for the flank, able to get in behind River. He's going to get knocked up, doesn't get stunned up, but over toward the side, that's going to force Mexi to have to back off, as well as the teleport now coming back on in. Hanabi over the wall, jumps in on the Wukong, gets the flash forward with his ultimate, and takes down Mexi, and that's going to be 2 kills going on over to Talon. And unfortunately, like we mentioned, for Talon, Resurgence just aren't able to keep up with the team fights as they have to back off.
And we did mention that the lead is not as scary yet. It's not significant. Even though Resurgence has kept this lead, it's just a 2k lead. With Talon now, though, they have this Baron with Epic will try to at least make a steal.
That's possible. He doesn't have a whole lot of health, though. Shinsekai also waiting over there toward the side. Getting a quick pick off here. Raven also going to pop in and comes in. And there it goes. It's going to be a 50-50 in the pick. Epic goes into stasis. Baron down very low. He steals away the Baron. And Resurgence are able to find the fight. But here comes Unified. Still on this. Aphelios is able to output so much damage. And unfortunately there, it's going to be Shinsekai getting taken to safety by Dennis as Resurgence steal the Baron.
What a wild fight. You see Epic getting that double kill, I believe, on Candy and as well as Kaiwing in the pit. And they managed to eliminate River as well. So that was a huge payoff, denying Talon's Baron buff and RSG acquiring at least 3 Barons on their side.
And let's take another look how this all started off. It looks like a good collapse here for Resurgence, but unfortunately, Mexi gets caught out by Candy, who's forced to flash away, and he can't do any damage as he's on the run.
And this was a beautiful teleport from Hanabi, flashing in for that knockup, for that spin, and Mexi didn't manage to contribute to any of the following fights on that Baron pit as he was eliminated immediately. Meanwhile, we see Raven setting up for mid and try to push to at least deny Talon of any sort of aggressiveness later on. But here's the thing, I want to see this fight again. So Shinsekai was pretty healthy, Epic was not. Tower laid down by Unified here to deny, to stone them away, and the stun in didn't actually work. And as you see, River and Kaiwing are so low.
Oh, and you saw there, able to steal away the Baron. Unfortunately, Unified, he's still at full health during this entire fight, and that's the thing. If they fully commit onto one of the squishy members or to the tanks, they don't have anything left for Unified. So for Resurgence, the target priority during the fights need to be fixed, but they do find themselves with the Baron buff in hand, only for another minute though, but it does prevent Talon from snowballing this game out of control.
Exactly, and Resurgence has been setting up the waves quite well, actually. So despite Talon winning some of these fights here and there, it doesn't really set up for a tower take because Resurgence is setting up these waves really perfectly. And now, you see, as Kaiwing will do spot out Shinsekai.
Shinsekai wants to get aggressive here, ends up getting rocket grabbed immediately. Stun also going to land, but no one goes very aggressive here. A decent crit actually coming out there from Unified. Gotta be careful when it comes to those Qs, but Mountain Drake is looking to be started here on the side of Resurgence. But, a nice stun there actually onto Kaiwing, forcing him to have to back off. Raven phase dives forward, but decides to go against it, as now Resurgence are going to go ahead, start up the Dragon, as they've laid down the trap and vision for Talon if they decide to try and contest. Third Dragon for Resurgence, now looking toward Mountain Soul if they can claim the next one. Shinsekai going very aggressive here into the middle of the fight, gets the stun, but immediately Mexi is going to get just taken down, and unfortunately for the side of Resurgence, again, they can't find the target selection and are trying to pull fights that they can't win.
Yeah, they've really invested a lot on towards River. He's doing a good job just peeling and just being that tanky frontline for Unified and Candy. And with that, again, you're dealing with a Syndra who is building items slowly but surely, and you will get stunned, you will get blown apart. As you can see, Mexi with a Corruption Potion, Shade of Corruptions, and easy pickings for Hanabi and the rest of Talon Esports on towards the AD carry.
Like, unfortunately, there's not a whole lot you can do there, especially with the messy fights. Like, unless they get on top of Unified or Candy, like, they got to get both of them during these fights. It's pretty much over, because Hanabi is able to supplement enough damage to make up for one of them going down. If both go down, it doesn't look like Talon should be able to win. But so far, the Wukong has been causing havoc when it comes to the PCS on his first day back, and I'm a little scared for Resurgence, even though they got a gold lead.
And at the end of the day, it's one of those things where it's 50-50. It's like one of those mind games where is the top laner of this team ready to play Wukong? If they're ready, then I guess we should ban it. But since there's just so many value picks right now in the PCS that has been proven effective, that's the reason why, you know, a lot of these teams are not going to be banning Wukong. But after this, if Talon does win, it's going to sit at 100% win rate still. So maybe the trend will definitely change. But now for RSG, they're still not out of this. They're still, they still have a chance. Especially this is their last stand. They have a 2,000 gold lead. They've been playing the waves well, and I think that's what something.
Candy has to be in trouble here as Raven able to get on top of him and get the decent amount of damage down. The Scatter of the Week also going to come out, but unfortunately Raven survives, and that should be possibly the tower. Shinsekai able to interrupt the teleport, as now it's going to be a 2v2. Unified, though, is still very strong here on the Aphelios. Another teleport going to come out through from Raven. Actually, that makes it Shinsekai, as unfortunately for Hanabi would have to use his ultimate to try and interrupt, and Resurgence are able to find the man advantage. Shinsekai, though, has to be careful. He gets hooked over the wall, and that's just no respect for that Blitzcrank, as he's forced to use his flash, as Hanabi now in the mid lane to answer for any fight.
That's a flash gone. Let's take a look at this again. So, Talon will definitely not see this coming. There were no wards to see RSG creep in slowly from the jungle towards their own base. And that clutch Chrono Break too, and as well as the ult from Shinsekai to cancel out Hanabi's teleport. Well done.
And there we go. Still dead even this game, it feels like, and Resurgence are very afraid, it seems, to try and jump onto this Aphelios. If it's Candy, Raven will try and go for the play, and the fact he's been able to now find the kills is a good sign here for Resurgence. But guess what? Baron is now back on the table. You have to now play out these 5v5s, and we've kind of shown now that Talon, well, it seems like they're in favor when it comes to that situation.
And that's the reason why Resurgence will keep trying to sort of get them solo, as Shinsekai will be safe for now. Yeah, but that's the reason why. Oh, split push from Raven. He has teleport.
Yeah, he has teleport available. No one except for Candy has it, and if he tried to teleport back onto the tower, he'd be a sitting duck. Hanabi actually going to show himself here. That might be a call for Resurgence if they can find the opportunity. Talon, though, always extremely careful when they know they would be a man down, and that's going to allow Resurgence to get a little bit of control back toward this Baron pit.
Indeed, again, I have to really praise how Resurgence has been playing the wave game, has been playing the macro, and in combination of how they're aggressive and trying to catch Candy off guard, it is going to be that formula to just take advantage of the long death timers, and how Talon would be a little bit less aggressive when it comes to these late game fights, especially when Resurgence has been setting the waves.
And there we go, back into the farm game here. Mountain Soul on the table, though, in 20 seconds. Resurgence looking to claim their 4th dragon of the game. For them, it would actually help them out quite a bit. You don't want to give the shielding over to, say, you know, Talon with Hanabi and River both on these frontline tanks looking to siege in. It also makes Shinsekai a real pain to actually deal with and gives Mexi a little bit more safety with the extra shield.
Ooh,
well, look at that. Raven is just going to go ahead, take the tower. Hanabi is finally going to show himself, but he's a little bit late to try and stop this. Talon, though, get the inside track. So it is going to be the inhibitor tower for Mountain. Resurgence, this is a gutsy call because Epic is still in the base.
Epic's still in the base, and Hanabi is just bothering Raven for any sort of teleport denial.
Is it Hanabi, you know, bothering Raven at this point? Because Raven, he's still going strong here. Able to go for this 1v1, has his ultimate to get back all that health.
Very true. Also has a Zanyas as well to buy some time for any of the cooldowns, but the response is for Talon. Okay, you're pushing our bot side, you're investing so much resources on Baron, might as well finally push that inner tower rather from Resurgence, and it paid off. So now Resurgence, though, has managed to eliminate that inhibitor tower at bot side, so it will definitely slowly creep towards Talon, and as well as set up for a really nice Baron and take advantage of the teleports.
I'm still concerned here for Resurgence. You're now still only at about 3,000 gold ahead. We're past that 30-minute mark. It doesn't really matter at this point. Unified is starting to sit toward his 4th item complete. Already now has some decent armor pen and just some upfront damage when it comes to the crits. If they're not able to get on top of this Aphelios, it is going to be game over for Resurgence. And Unified's still sitting on his cleanse, still has a flash available for the upcoming fight, especially if they decide to just go ahead and start bursting down this Baron, because it feels like Talon, they are still confident when it comes to the 5v5 team fight.
Take note, they can definitely burst someone down immediately with that Syndra pick, with so much damage coming from Unified already on this Aphelios. So if Raven decides to teleport side split push and teleport in, then it might be too late. Meanwhile,
though, gives them a lot of information. That's actually going to be Senskai pulling his teleport. Is Epic actually heading back to the base? He went back to base. RSG, they do not have any communication of what's going on. Epic ended up going back to base. That could have been a 4v5 fight for Talon or for Resurgence.
That is very interesting, as Epic stayed there for quite a while and decided to go back to buy more items, I suppose. But now Talon has this Scuttler control, and now they're confident in taking this out. Hanabi has teleport, so that is what Resurgence has to watch out for. There is a flanking ward over there at the red buff, so they have to be careful for that.
Yeah, you got to clear out a lot of the vision that's down in your jungle, and again, both sides just disengage as Raven, he was nearby, but it would have taken him about 10 seconds to get to the pit on that Echo. Instead, everyone backs off. They go back into farming mode, and then we go. We got a Mountain Drake in 2 minutes. Does RSG decide to go for this Dragon Soul, or do they go for the Baron instead? Because Talon have been putting a decent amount of priority to try and deny that away from Resurgence.
And yeah, that is the question. There's still a ton of respect coming from Talon for RSG. They've shown how strong they are mechanically, and as well as how they've been just exchanging pressure throughout the map, and see how Resurgence can seep through the defenses, considering that, you know, Vision has been fully invested at the bottom side of the map because Inhibitor is open. So they're expecting Raven to be lingering around that area, but you know what? Raven decided to switch up and push top instead.
Unfortunately now for Resurgence, you take a look at the items, Unified has completed his GA. So he's got that second life available, on top of the cleanse, on top of the flash, on top of an exhaust from the Blitzcrank. There is so much peel for Unified now. I don't know if Resurgence can even kill him once, let alone twice during a fight, without expending all their resources. And why is Epic showing bot lane when that's going to be a free Baron for the side of Talon here? It's up to Raven to make an insane hero play. In comes the rest of the squad. They're able to actually sidetrack away. Over the wall they come on over. Talon the rest. This is Resurgence trying to pick up the pieces here, as now the engage is going to come on out. They're able to actually stop it over. Epic over the wall. Flashes on in, but it's not going to be enough as the Baron goes in favor of Talon. And now Epic able to escape, but not for long, as the Unleashed Power is able to find its mark. Hanabi on the hunt, wants to pop his ultimate. Resurgence are running for the hills. If they get taken down here, it is game over. Dennis will sacrifice his life, and it's 2 kills over in favor of Talon. And I have to question, why is Epic in the bot lane?
I was wondering the same thing. I feel like Epic was just either setting up for Dragon, that's the reason why he was all the way there, but at the same time, you see Talon always lingering around this area. They were hoping to get this ever since. So now you see at least Resurgence at this point sort of stopped the Baron take, but it was too late because Resurgence spread it out already, used the tunnel, forced to use a flash, and it was definitely too late.
Unfortunately there for Epic, he's not able to make the Miracle Seal happen once again. Resurgence, though, they should be counting their blessings. They didn't lose anything else off that fight. They didn't lose any of their turrets or their inhibitors. They did lose, though, that Dragon once again. And honestly, if Epic is going to, for the lack of a better word, mess around in bot lane and force his team to have to make a desperation play like that, you give up the Baron, you at least take the soul.
And what's interesting is that Epic stayed a lot of time, spent a lot of time at bot side, lingering around, and not very sure what the plan was, but it really costed RSG. And Talon now taking towers after towers, and RSG on the defense now.
And with that play alone, you can already see Talon have almost a swing of favor toward them as they have the tempo. They started to just knock down towers. Inhibitor tower is going to start falling here. And Resurgence, they have to make a final stand. Dennis is able to get a hook, but you can see Resurgence are already backtracking. And do you want that one mistake, that one misplay coming out from your jungler to be what ends up costing you a chance at playoffs? You could also say the games they lost earlier in the season are the reason they lost, but when it comes down to the wire, when the pressure is here, it almost looks like Resurgence are starting to fully crumble.
And the good news for Resurgence, though, they get to fight another day, but that's still 30 seconds on the clock for this Baron to expire on Talon's side. So they will have to make this their last stand on this game, as it is their last stand in the tournament.
Here we go, playoffs on the line. Pressure comes through. That's going to be Shinsekai just looking to clear out the wave, but the next wave comes on back immediately. River Unified already pushing forward. Rocket Grab is not going to land. Shinsekai onto the engage. It's going to be hooked directly onto River. River pops his stone plate. The tower's already down. You can see Shinsekai. He's a big tanky boy, but he's not able to stay in there long. Epic looking for a flank. He's got the GA on the Rex side, but that's the second inhibitor already falling.
And there are waves building at top side as well. And since, Resurgence has not burned a lot of their ults except for Shinsekai's ultimate, but for Talon, they're confident. Again, this is their playstyle. This is their game. This is their comfort zone. The 5v5s and as well as the late game. So now, you saw how tanky River is. And Resurgence has to get past that defenses before they're able to get through Candy and Unified.
And there we go. Talon are just going to go ahead, reset, spend a lot of this gold, look to pick up their 4th and 6th items on some of their carries. Hanabi also has his GA. You're now counting 7 lives on the side of Talon. And for Resurgence, it comes down to where you make this final stand. You can't do it in mid lane anymore. You can't do it in the bot lane. The last tower, last choke point that you have available for you is this top lane tower. But look at that, the wave's already pushing on in. Hanabi and Candy both have teleport available if they want to try and go for this. There's no dragon for 90 seconds. Resurgence are just trying and hoping that they can stall it out, but Talon will not give them that opportunity.
Exactly, and as you can see, Talon now moving towards top side as Resurgence will try to stop the wave at this point, but they may lose another objective and exposing the base even more. And like you mentioned, there's a lot of lives on Talon's side, and considering you have the Maw as well for Unified, it just means that he can play a little bit more defensively and rely on, consistent damage and as well as in Candy.
That was your last stand. I don't think Resurgence can hold on to their base any longer. That was your last possible choke point that you could find a flank with this Echo in the safety of your own base. Shinsekai's going to get caught out. Another hook onto River. He's happy taking that. Double teleport from both sides of the map. Who's going to come down? Final fight here for Resurgence, looking to save their season. They get the hook onto Unify, but Dennis is too afraid to try and go in onto the fight. Can't use the Scatter of the Weak to just disengage. And Resurgence, they have to make the stand or their season is done here and now. First Nexus Tower goes down. Talon looking to send them into the dead bones. And like that, unfortunately, Hanabi can just zone back. They get on top of Unified, but guess what? Resurgence, no one else is following up. Mexi is zoned off there by Hanabi. It's a double kill for the Aphelios, looking to add on to the triple as he finds it right there, and Unified seals Resurgence's fate as they will not make it into spring playoffs, and Talon are able to take the game.
Our first elimination, and that is Resurgence, and Talon crushing their dreams right there and then. Talon, that was actually a pretty close game, though.
Yeah, for Talon, they're able to keep composed. Resurgence, the dream was alive for the last 2 weeks here, but unfortunately it comes to a bitter end as they will lose out the much-needed game to force a tiebreaker for playoffs. And Talon, they still look at possibly looking to fight toward the second place and try and take that away from AHQ.
Exactly, so a lot is on the line, and I'm pretty sure, yes, it is such a sad day today, especially for, you know, the Singapore fans, the Resurgence fans. And it's actually very nice to see their progress throughout the PCS, you know, from a team that seemed to be paralyzed from early to late, and now you've seen them taking a game almost from HQ, 2-0ing Liab, and now fighting neck and neck against Talon, who seemed unstoppable as well in the first week. So a lot has improved for Resurgence, and it's really nice to see. But yes, unfortunately, this ends their run in the PCS Spring Split.
So now that's one of the former LST squads being eliminated from the rest of Spring, and that was, of course, Resurgence's final game, so we won't be seeing this team again until we start the summer split later toward the end of May. So, unfortunately, you'll take what you can take, at least I think if you're on the side of Resurgence. If this team is able to play like this come in summer, we are looking at a middle-to-the-pack team after almost going winless in the first half of the season.
That's true. Like, if I were, I mean, as a fan, you know, of, you know, previous, the LSD squads, especially for Resurgence, I'd still be very proud and very happy to see how far they've come into the tournament. Again, considering that they've, again, 2-0'd Liab, or actually considering that they have had a rough start. And it says a lot in terms of their mental fortitude and in terms of individual talents in the roster.
Yeah. I think also there for Talon, it kind of showed that, you know, when teams play a little bit aggressive toward them, they can still try and slow down that game. We mentioned Talon was the slowest team when it comes to the PCS at the beginning of the season, and unfortunately it comes down to small mistakes like showing yourself bot lane and allowing Talon to take a free Baron.
Yeah, and it was the rest of the 4 members of Resurgence to try and buy some time, and it worked well. They stopped Talon in taking the Baron as everyone was focused on Resurgence, and because of that, they bought some time. It's just that 50-50 Baron still didn't work out, so Resurgence still did their job. For Epic, unfortunately, wasn't able to steal, and Talon, once again, securing a victory, 2-0ing Resurgence in the PCS.
And you can see by those damage totals why the Aphelios is disgusting still, especially in the hands of Unified. He went pretty much untouched after his first 2 deaths in the game and was able to just take home the game relatively easy. And there's just so much peel available for this carry that was really hard for Resurgence to even try and go for a backline dive.
Yeah, and there's just so much disrupt as well. So you had to do 2 things, either peel for Mexi or just dive in and disrupt Aphelios, because Hanabi on this Wukong just really ruined Mexi's day. And because of that, since, you know, Raven is also on dive duty, there's not a lot of options for peel for the side of Mexi. But yeah, normally we see when the Aphelios is picked up on the opposite side, what the response is for the teams is they usually opted for like a mage bot lane. But at the end of the day, it's definitely more on the playstyle and what you decide to do. And Talon, again, solidifying what kind of team they are, and they're scary as the game progresses.
Yeah, we'll still be able to see a little bit of them later tonight. Again, though, like we mentioned for Resurgence, this is unfortunately their final game when it comes to the PCS, at least for Spring. They'll be able to at least take a little bit of a break here, watch playoffs, try and regroup, try and get some more practice in. And for MVP, it's going to go on over to Unified.
Nicely done, well deserved, and as well as keeping the lane intact and at the bot side of the map, making Mexi's life hard and just transitioning well. And Unified has been very consistent for Talon Esports, and he's definitely one player to look out for, especially in their last game tonight against, I believe, HKA.
Yeah, HKA, that's still our Battle of Hong Kong, which will be coming up here shortly. But of course, we still have another game up on the table, and that's going to be HQ taking on Alpha, which in itself should be a pretty interesting game to watch, because Alpha were the first team to really kind of shake up AHQ's early game.
Yeah, because HQ was the team that seemed unstoppable. They seemed like gods. And for Alpha Esports, they're always this surprise. They always manage to surprise us during the draft and in-game as well. So it is definitely going to be quite unpredictable for the next match.
Yeah, so we'll of course be having that game come up after a short break. But of course, we still have to say congratulations over there toward Talon, and also a hint of gratitude over to Resurgence. Even though they weren't able to take home the victory, they still were able to find a massive improvement when it came to the roster in their style of play. And if they're able to maintain that, I'm very excited to see how well this team will perform when it comes to the summer split.
Exactly, and they've always had it in them, you know, Resurgence, and again, the fans, especially the fans from the LSD, would really, really be happy seeing them grow from the beginning of the split, and now, again, managing to 2-0 Liab and fight neck and neck with the top teams of the PCS.
Yeah, so we'll see whether or not Liab is going to be able to escape the clutches of defeat. We're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, of course, it's that game, HQ taking on Alpha.